Good morning, Northwest Arkansas, and happy Wednesday. Don, how are you doing, sir?
Just fantastic, couldn't be any better.
I tell you, we've got some beautiful weather coming up. I checked the forecast before I came so I can say with confidence that 4th of July weekend is going to be fantastic. Perfect.
Looking forward to getting out and not having to stay in the house all the time where it's hot, and maybe a little golf,
Golf?
just in
Okay.
case, so.
That's a great day. Well, we have a special edition of Village Highlights this week. Dr. Evelyn Jorgensen is our president of Northwest Arkansas Community College. I'm so excited to have her here. She's my boss. And the other exciting thing is that she has just celebrated, yesterday in fact, her 1-year anniversary with the college. And so we're going to kick it off and let Dr. Jorgensen tell why she wanted to come to Northwest Arkansas Community College and this region, and kind of the transition, how that's gone for you. So it's a little twofold here, and so we'll get you off started, but welcome. Very glad to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you both. I'm delighted to be here. Have a little bit of a frog in my throat, so bear with me as I visit with you, but delighted to share some time and talk about the first year. And yesterday was my first anniversary, as you said, and I have really enjoyed being part of the area, the community, part of the college, and one of the things you want to know is a little bit about my background and why I wanted to come here. And I get asked that question quite frequently, actually. And first of all, it's a beautiful area, so you can't blame anyone for wanting to move to Northwest Arkansas. The college itself is wonderful to work with. I came from North Missouri, as some people know, and I am myself a product of a community college. I always like to make sure that gets in there because I feel so strongly about community colleges. So my husband and I both met at community college. When we finished our community college degrees, we then went on for advanced degrees, and I went on to get a doctorate from the University of Missouri in Columbia, and was president in Missouri for 17 years. And decided that I really wanted one more big adventure, is the way I've described it to a lot of people. But I wanted to stay close to my 2 grown kids who are in Kansas City area, and close to my mom, who's in Lake of the Ozarks. So I didn't want to get too far away. I wanted to have 4 seasons. I've said that oftentimes as well. And so it seemed like Northwest Arkansas Community College had everything I was looking for, including great people to work with and a great community to live in. So we were delighted to have the opportunity, and I'm very appreciative.
Well, as Jean said, you just completed your first year.
Yes.
We all like to think of the great things we do in life, and I was just wondering if you could share with us some of what you classify as the major accomplishments that happened during your first year. I can think of some. I've read them in the paper, but would you please share some of those with us?
Sure. Honestly, I don't. I didn't want to set the expectations too high for the first year, because a lot of that time is spent just getting to know people, getting to understand the politics, the policies, the procedures. Arkansas is a little bit different in the way things are done in Missouri, so there was a learning curve on my part. But most people know that I do have very strong feelings when it comes to operating a balanced budget. So that was one of the things I wanted to be sure that we paid attention to, is how we were operating the college and what the costs are, and whether there are ways to be more efficient, and taking a close look at how our revenues are generated. So the whole area of trying to make sure we started this year that we're now in, starting July 1, it was just really important to me to start that year with a balanced budget. So that was one of the things that we were able to do. I was really interested also in getting to know the faculty and the staff, and interacting with the students and getting to know them, and spent a lot of time doing that this year. It's been wonderful. We just have a great mix of people there. So we're off and going on year 2 now, so I'm excited.
Well, a lot of people, they used to talk about the junior colleges
Yes.
as kind of a second-rate education program. We've changed that terminology to community colleges now, and we've added comprehensive community colleges.
Yes.
Is NWAC a comprehensive community college, and would you give us your definition of a comprehensive community college?
Absolutely. When community colleges started in the early 1900s, you're right, they were referred to as junior colleges and really thought of as the first 2 years of a 4-year degree. The intention being everyone would transfer to a university. But as community colleges have come into their own and really developed, we've realized we have a much greater purpose than just providing transfer students to the university. That's a good thing to do. Nothing wrong with that. But if we really think about our middle name being community, then the expectation should be, and I think the expectation is, that, excuse me, that we serve the community. And so that involves a lot more than just preparing transfer students. It means that we have to prepare people to work in the community. And I do believe that Northwest Arkansas Community College is a comprehensive community college that does a good job with preparing transfer students as well as preparing people for the workforce. I don't think our efforts on the side of the workforce are as well known. So we're trying very hard to get that out and better known. We have a number of programs, for instance, really intended to put people right into the workforce, and that's culinary arts, criminal justice, electronics technology, paramedic program, fire science, graphic design, physical therapy assistant, a nursing program. Those are all programs that are primarily intended to help people get into the workforce.
Well, I'm happy to say that my youngest son went through a community college, took the culinary arts program, and now operates his own business, Tasteful Dinners and Tasteful Catering in Ankeny, Iowa. So, thanks to the
Fantastic.
community college, he owns his own business. And
Yes.
So, yeah, it's a great
It's a great
opportunity
start for a lot of students, and I think sometimes community colleges are a little bit underappreciated and undervalued because it's the first step for a lot of different businesses, industries, ideas, entrepreneurship. There's many different directions you can go and start at a community college.
Question for you. You know, we have the junior college and the community college. Where do the vocational schools or colleges fit in to that picture?
Well, vocational schools, or as they're more often now called career and technical schools, are probably one side of what a comprehensive community college do. Their focus is primarily on those skills that are intended to get you right into the workforce. And so a comprehensive community college does both, if you will, prepare people for transfer to the university, but also prepares you in those job skills, career and technical skills that get you into the workforce. So a technical school kind of focuses just on that one side, getting people right into the workforce.
Very good, thank you. You know, the college is a young college.
Yes, it is.
NWAC is, and we've enjoyed so much rapid growth for so many years, and then a couple of years ago we started a little bit of a decline. Can you tell me, you know, what the college, and tell our audience what the college is doing to get us back on track? I think one being the balanced budget and cutting costs where we can. And if these initiatives are going to result in any reduction in staff. I think that's always a big concern.
Right, right. I know that's always a concern, and obviously funding for a community college comes from a number of sources, but a big portion of that funding is tuition and fee revenue, particularly as state support has remained flat over a lot of years. Colleges have become more dependent on tuition and fee revenue. So when enrollment goes down, that means tuition and fee revenue goes down. So there's always some concern about that. But with NWAC being, as you said, a relatively new college, it was had not experienced anything except increases in enrollment and increases in tuition and fee revenue. But I think as we see that enrollment leveling off for a little bit here for a couple of years, what that does is gives us an opportunity to really catch our breath, take a look at all the resources, take a look at our budget, take a look at our staffing, our facilities, our equipment, and really evaluate what we need. I can tell you that from my perspective, reductions in force are absolutely a last resort. You know, it's not one of those things you can say will never happen, but it's a last resort, and we haven't had to do that yet because we have been able to locate other areas where we could have some savings.
Okay, thank you.
I read in the newspaper, you know, I'm wearing red, white, and blue
Yes.
flag. I'm a veteran, World War of Korea, and I read in the newspaper here a while back where you're doing something special for the veterans of Arkansas.
Yes, we are. We are so proud of our veterans and realize that they have done so much for us as a country and as a state that we really should try to find some way to help them. And colleges, community colleges included, often have a waiting period or a requirement that you live in the area a certain period of time before you can receive in-state tuition. And what we did for veterans, because we know that they get transferred, moved around a lot, we did not want any of them thinking they had to sit there for 6 months and wait to be eligible for in-state tuition. So we wanted them to know that as soon as they return from their service, if they want to begin at NWAC, we will help them in every way we can. We do have a Veterans Resource Center, and we will allow them in-state tuition no matter what. So even if they get transferred, they're still in active duty or the reserves, and they get shipped out, sent somewhere else, they can still take classes and do it with in-district tuition.
That's great. I know many people will appreciate that greatly. In fact, I might even come back to school.
Well, and like I said, in-state tuition's available, so you just sign up. We're ready to
Okay.
help you.
And then the veterans that live in the school district get to take advantage of the in-district, is
That's
that right?
correct, yes.
Okay. And I think for our viewing audience, would you go ahead and explain the difference between in-district and in-state? Because we're a little
Absolutely.
unique.
Yes, absolutely. Community colleges generally have a taxing district, and NWAC does. So those students who have residents within the taxing district, they actually pay some local millage to support the college. So when they pay that local millage, that entitles them to an in-district tuition, which is a little bit lower than the in-state tuition. But community colleges, as I've often said, are the best buy in higher education. Much less expensive than universities, and certainly much less expensive than private or for-profit colleges. So whether it's in district or in state, it's a good rate either way.
It is, and I think it gets a little confusing for our students in that we have our taxing districts are the Bentonville School District and the Rogers School
Rogers.
District
Yes.
versus countywide.
Yes, so it's a rather
Yeah.
small taxing
Taxing.
district, and so there's a rather limited group of people that get to take advantage of that in-district rate, but again, they get the in-district rate because they're paying the taxes to support the college.
Being that we have school districts in and out of the county, or in and out of the district, could like Gravette come in and change their taxing structure and come in to community college and so they could get the
In-district
in-district
rate.
tuition?
Communities are able to do that. It does, I believe, take a vote of the people here in Arkansas as it does in Missouri. But if a community were to choose to do that, they are then choosing to tax themselves in order for their young people to have the advantage of a lower tuition rate when they go to the college.
Okay.
But that would be possible, yes.
Okay.
Okay. And when we're attracting students, what's the college doing? I feel kind of funny because I know a little bit, but not, maybe not all.
You can add to the conversation.
But again, I want to just piggyback on that. I know you have several different resources. You have stackable programs. You have online programs. I know there's fiber optics program. There's all sorts of various types of programs that are being offered now that one time was never happened. So can you just kind of go through some of those different ones and share with them?
Yes, higher education has changed a lot. Many of us remember where when the only way to get higher education was to literally move to a college campus, live in a dorm, and take college classes. Well, now there are so many opportunities, and we really pride ourselves at NWAC at being very accessible, because students certainly can come to the college and take classes. We have classes in the evenings, we have classes during the day, we have classes on the weekends, we have great varieties. We have off-campus centers. We have a center that is in Springdale that we're operating, so we try to sometimes take classes to the students to the best that we can. And we have online classes, and that really is a very rapidly growing area of the college, because so many people find that it's easy to take classes online. They can kind of work around their jobs, their kids' life in general that gets a little complicated sometimes. So we try to be very accessible to the students.
I would like to talk about the online classes a little bit more. Spring semester, and then this first summer session that just ended, I took an online class, 2 different ones, and had a great experience.
Good.
But it is a lot, it takes a lot more time commitment, if you will, to do an online than an in-seat as far as I'm concerned. And also, I think you have to be someone who likes to stay up late at night. So you can do that. Well, that's not me. And the other thing I learned is that if I'm going to do a 5-week course, it's not going to be online. But I want to say the instruction was very good, because the instructors are more facilitators than true instructors, if you will. You're doing a lot of the learning on your own. You're looking for the information.
You do have to be a bit more self-directed.
Right.
If you're someone that isn't going to do the work unless a teacher is standing there saying, you've got to do this, then online classes might not be for you. But even though you said you weren't so good at staying up at night, a lot of people who take online classes like the fact that they can work all day, come home, have dinner, feed the kids, put the kids to bed,
right,
and then 11:30 at night go online and do the homework, do the assignments, and get their work done. And it works for some people.
It definitely does. Kind of piggyback on that, the online classes, the cost per hour seems to be a little more expensive.
Yes.
And could you help us understand, our viewing audience understand the why behind that?
Sure. One of the things that happens with the online classes is you have a tremendous amount of technology that is needed to support those online classes. And there are a number of fees that have to be paid by the college in order to have that access, in order to have that availability, and a lot of technology needed on the, for the teachers to use to be able to make everything work. And so just the cost of maintaining all that infrastructure so that the classes can be taught online really does add to the cost, and so that does make the classes a little more expensive.
Yeah, we talk about concurrent enrollment. Now, what is concurrent enrollment?
Well, concurrent enrollment is a wonderful opportunity that high school students have. And what they can do is be enrolled in a high school class and a college class concurrently or at the same time. Oftentimes those classes are taught in the high schools. They are taught by college approved instructors. They must have a master's degree. They use a college curriculum, a college textbook. So it is a true college level class. But for those students in high school who are able to manage college level materials, it's a great opportunity because they can take that class in high school and they'll get high school credit and college credit both.
Okay. I read someplace or saw something that even the GED program is now online.
Online,
Now,
yes.
they take their classes or tests online, or the whole ball game, or
We offer GED classes, and the students come to those classes and prepare, but the actual GED test is now done on the computer. So it's, I think, indicative of the fact that to be an educated person today in this society, in the world that we live in, you really do have to master some of the basics of computers. And so that includes starting with the GED students. So they do have to learn some of those skills.
And I think on our GED students, for our GED students, we have a pathway to get them then onto the credit classes or certificate programs. Is that right?
Yes, yes. Our GED students, we are very, very proud of them, very pleased that they were able to pass the GED test. But we always want to remind them that they have probably more potential than they realize they have. And they shouldn't just stop with the GED. They should go on and think about taking some college classes. So we try to provide some scholarships for them. We try to spend some time with them with advisors in that GED classroom so that they understand how you get from a GED to college classes, because sometimes those folks come from families that have not attended college. They may not have the information they need, and so we want to make sure that they understand that there's a very clear pathway. Complete that GED and then meet with an advisor, talk about opportunities at the college, and sign up for a couple classes and test the waters.
Very good. And on the GED, for the GED students and other students, we have a lot of scholarship opportunities.
Yes.
Because the tuition, just keeps going up. But we have been fortunate that we haven't raised the tuition for a couple of years.
That's
And so
exactly right. The last
worked
2
hard.
years, we have not raised tuition. And so that's one of the reasons why we're very pleased that this year, with the help of the Board of Trustees and all the staff and everyone at the college, really putting our nose to the grindstone, we were able to have a second year with no tuition increase, yet still have a balanced budget. So we were pleased.
And the scholarships really help fill in that gap.
They do, and we really, quite honestly, rely on community support. People need to realize, I think, that they as individuals, even though they may not have children in college, they benefit from any number of people who are college educated. Anytime you see a nurse or a doctor or talk to a business owner, chances are you're dealing with someone that has a college education, and so you're benefiting from them having that college education. So help us with scholarships.
And yesterday, Dr. Jorgensen and I were visiting, and we were commenting that as the baby boomers keep aging, we don't go, we don't have that reverse formula yet, but as we age, we need more nurses, more physical therapists, the respiratory assistants, the paramedics, all of those
Yes.
college grads, in those
Yes.
certificate programs.
Yeah.
So it's
When you're
good.
talking about college grads, and you were talking a lot about pathways,
Yes.
educational pathways, that's a 2-year degree where you're at. Now, this pathway, does this lead us on then to some of us to a 4-year degree then, or?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things higher education is trying to do right now is help everyone understand that you don't have to go immediately for a 4-year degree. You can start sometimes just with certificates. There are very strong certificate programs that would allow you some work skills that will get you into the workforce. But just as a nurse might be a good example, you can become a PN, LPN, a licensed practical nurse. You can then go on, get an associate's degree and become a registered nurse. You can go on from there and get a BSN, a bachelor's degree in nursing if you want, and move up the ladder and move up that path. But there are lots of good jobs, lots of opportunities for people who have just certificates or 2-year degrees in college, and we want to remind people of that.
Very good. I'm going to switch from the college educational focus to the physical component of the college, and we've got I-49 is going to be widened.
Yes.
And we're going to have what they call the 8th Street Exchange.
Yes.
And do we know exactly yet where the exchange is going to hit our property, the college's property, and then also the bisecting of the campus with the railroad?
Yes, yes. The NWAC campus is kind of facing some changes in the next few years, because we do know that 8th Street is going to cut across the northern edge of the college property. We don't know exactly where, except that we do know that it's going to be on the northern edge, and will connect most likely with 8th Street over by Water Tower Road. We know also that Water Tower Road is going to be widened, so that means that they're going to come right up along the side of the college property and take some land there in that process. The railroad, as you know, we're trying very hard to make that go away, if you will. But the railroad's been there a lot of years. We have the attorneys working on it, and it's a complex process. So we still hope that will happen, because it would be in the best interest of the college campus to not be bisected, dissected, and sliced with the railroad and with 8th Street and with Water Tower Road getting wider and the highway getting wider. So we kind of feel like we're getting squeezed. So any of that we can avoid, we want to try to do that.
Is there any thought of signalization at the entrance to the college, or is it in part of this new process that's going to happen, or is that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot that's still in discussion. Our preference is to eliminate the railroad across campus completely, but if it turns out that that isn't possible, then we'll look at all other options to make the college campus as cohesive as we can.
And we don't have any stoplights right at the entrance of our college. We have one at Water Tower Road,
yes,
I think, and so we going in and out have challenges with crossing traffic. Is there going to be anything on the other side of the campus, like between Mercy and the college?
Well, that we don't know yet either, because we are, as we work on our master plan for the college, we are also communicating with the city to see what their plans are for the development of those areas.
Okay.
And certainly we want to do whatever we can that would be in the best interest of our students and make sure that they can safely enter and exit the college campus.
I have one question.
Sure.
I'm assuming that you have a large developmental classes offered on campus. Are most of the high school students, are most of the high school students coming prepared, or do you have to get a lot of them into developmental classes? Or, I keep hearing about different levels of education in Arkansas and around the United States. Some saying they come to us with 5th grade education.
Well, developmental education is something that's somewhat controversial, but the truth of the matter is community colleges are the most democratic form of higher education there is. We are an open access institution, which means we don't set a certain GPA, we don't set a certain ACT score in order for students to gain admission to the community college. We open our arms and we say, come to us and we will help you succeed. And so in the process of being that very democratic, open institution, we do receive students who do not have skills that are at a level that prepares them really to enter college classes. And so when we get those students, we do have to put them into developmental classes. Now, sometimes they're directly out of high school and probably should have studied harder in high school. Most of us should have, right? So sometimes that's the case. But oftentimes, the students that we get at the community college are people who are 25 or 30 years old and haven't been in a math class for 15 years. And so they've forgotten some things. So oftentimes we can put them in developmental classes and they'll go, oh yeah, now I remember.
Yeah.
And it comes back to them and then they're ready to go on to college level classes. Even though we only serve, generally provide the first 2 years of a college degree for an associate's degree, our average age, the average age of our students is 26. So that tells you right there, we get a lot of students that are not right out of high school. So they need some brushing up. But we do get some high school kids too that probably should have studied harder while they were in school.
Very good, very
Well,
good.
I want to just share with you, my son that's in business for himself, that I mentioned,
Yes.
he has a real bad case of dyslexia. So he went through a developmental program to get through college, and so it didn't stop him.
That's
but
right.
thanks to the community college, they had those developmental services
Yes.
that helped him be very successful in life. So
And it sounds like he's done very well, so that's great to know. But there's a place for developmental courses, there really are. It helps people, whether they have learning disabilities, as you've described, or whether they goofed around a little too much in high school, or whatever it might be. But we welcome them and we support them. We provide that very nurturing environment that will help them succeed.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Jorgensen, for taking the time to come out to Bella Vista and to be on the Village Highlight program with us. We appreciate it, and we appreciate all the great things that you're doing
Thank you.
at the college. And in our last minute or so, is there anything you'd like to share that we haven't asked about, or that you really have a burning desire to get out to the viewing audience?
All right. Well, one of the things I will say is that in community colleges, in order for us to keep our tuition rates low and in order to really serve the students who need our help, we really rely on community members to support us. We really believe that we are part of the community. We provide things to benefit the community, but we hope that the community will reach out and do some things to help our students as well. Both Jean and I have pins on today that say President's Circle, and those pins are given to those people who are contributors to the college at a certain level, and that money is used to provide scholarships. So we want to see students succeed. We want to see them be able to support their families and be good for the community. And some of that means sometimes that means we've got to help them a little bit to get started. So I encourage people to contact Jean or anyone else at the college and ask about how to help with funding scholarships, how to be part of the President's Circle, and how to play an active role at the community college.
Thank you.
I have one thing I'd like to say.
Yes.
Arkansas is fortunate to have you as a president
Well,
of
thank
Northwest
you.
Arkansas Community College.
Thank you. Well,
I
I
have to
feel very,
second
I
that.
feel very fortunate to be here. It's a great school.
Well,
Very
after
good.
having 26 years in community college education at various administrative levels, I know you're doing just an outstanding job, and we're so appreciative that you could be here today with us.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it, and I apologize for my squeaky voice.
You did well.
But I very much enjoy being here. Thank you.
It got you through. Thank you again for a great program. Don, you know, you and I are dressed in red, white, and blue.
That's
We've
right.
got a beautiful flag hanging behind us on the set.
That's right.
So what's up with that?
It's just great to be an American.
It is, and we are going
The
to
freedoms that we have to move from state, to worship as we choose, to speak as we choose, to have open public television. It's an awesome country we live in.
It is, and we are going to be celebrating
Yes.
our country's birthday on Friday,
That's right.
4th of July, and so we want everyone to be out there and say, God bless America. Thank you for the opportunity. Like you said, we are so proud. I think all of us here at this table are to be an American.
Absolutely.
And I want to say that we couldn't do this program without our volunteers behind the cameras and on the crew desk back there, the controls. They're just awesome. And the other thing, you know, this wouldn't happen if we didn't have some of our sponsors and our donating organizations. We've got churches, nonprofits, some businesses, and so we'd like to recognize them just really quickly. The Bella Vista Assembly of God Church, Bella Vista Baptist Church, and the Highland Christian Church. And do you want to go ahead and name a couple?
Well, we have the Animal Shelter, the Bluebird Society, Bella Vista Funeral Home and Crematory,
Okay.
and
then-
we're always looking for more.
Yep, and we have the Bella Vista POA, the City of Bella Vista,
Yeah.
two great organizations that keep our community up and running strong, and 3M organization. So to all of those in our viewing audience, we appreciate you tuning in, and we hope to see you next month. Don and I are here usually the first Wednesday of every month, aren't we, sir?
It's a great
It's a
pleasure to work with you.
pleasure. Such a pleasure. And Dr. Jorgensen,
Thank
thank you so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Happy 4th of July to everybody. Over and out. Stay right here. Yes, sir.